الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعزائي طلبة وطالبات الصف 11، أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم في حلقة جديدة من درس على الهواء. هذه الحلقة مخصصة لمادة اللغة الإنجليزية مهارات. وقتا ممتعا ومفيدا أتمناه لكم، ونبدأ الدرس على بركة الله. Dear students, before we start, I'd like to introduce the number of units that we have planned to take for this semester. So, as it is shown on the screen, we have, this is number one, unit number one, called Fame, and this is the unit that we're going to start with today, inshallah. Number two is called The Mind. Number three, In the Past, and number four, Careers. So we have four themes or four units to be dealt with in this semester, inshallah. Of course, you are aware of the situation and the circumstances that the country is facing and encountering, and because of this, because of the pandemic of COVID-19, the people who are in charge in the Ministry of Education have decided to cancel some of the tasks found in the syllabus and keep others to be taught. I'm telling you this to make sure that you keep in touch with your teachers so that he or she can update you with all these taught and cancelled tasks. It's clear here on the screen. In the table we have the taught and cancelled tasks for lesson number one only in unit number one. These are the activities that we will deal with today, and these are the cancelled one. So let's start our journey, and of course we cannot start anything unless we have goals, we have objects and objectives. So the first learning outcome, I hope that you will be able to listen and to answer questions. Secondly, students will be able to read about a social media networking event and use the present simple, present continuous, and present perfect tenses in different contexts. So I want you now to open your book, page number 5. Your student book, page number 5. It will look like this. As you notice here in this page, we have the title in a colored big font, and also in the corner here, this column, we have the areas or the skills that we will cover, inshallah, through this unit. Here we have books of vocabulary. Here we have a big photo, and this section is about activities. Of course, number 1, 2, and 4 are cancelled, so only we will take number 3. So let's start with the photo here first. We can see that there are many people who are wearing same clothes. They are holding cameras, they're taking photos for somebody. It seems that this guy is a famous person, that's why they are taking photos for him. He is on the stair, on the carpet, on the red carpet. So I want you just to remember this word. I want you to remember the word famous, because we will come back to it. And now let's see the title here. The title is Fame, and the dictionary definition of this word, which is noun, fact, the state of being known or recognized by many people because of the achievements, because of the skills he or she has. So I brought you some photos here. These photos are not found on the syllabus with you, but I brought you to make sure that you understand the meaning of this word, fame. Fame is a noun, famous is an adjective. So famous is an adjective. For example, we have here, do you know this guy? Of course, you know it, or you know him. He is Ali Al-Habsi. He's a famous goalkeeper in the Sultanate. He is famous because of his achievements, because of his good and excellent skills in football. The second picture shows a famous and popular actor. His name is, yes, Tom Cruise, right. He is also recognized and known by many people because he's a famous actor. The third picture here we have Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens is a British writer. He's a famous also because of his skills in writing, especially his famous novel, Oliver Twist. If you didn't read this novel, I recommend you to do so because it is very interesting novel. I hope that you get the meaning of the word fame and the word famous. Now, let's read the words in this box. These words actually are related to the word media, to this term. Simply, what do we mean by media? Media is, for example, television, radio, newspapers, magazines, and all these things. Even we can say networking or social networking sites. Here we have some words. Of course, you are aware of some of these words. Some of them are new. It's okay. So here we have an article. You can find an article where? In the newspaper. We have here audience. We have channel. For example, I am now on TV in Oman الثقافية channel. Front page. This is the page you can find in the magazine, also in the newspaper, headline. For example, this is a headline. Journalist. These are journalists. The people also who write in newspapers or magazines are called also journalists. Listener. Now you are listening to me, and sometimes you listen to radio programs. Podcast. Podcast means an audio file, a digital audio file, where you can download from the internet and you listen to in your car or in your personal computer. Program. This is a program. Dars على الهواء is a program. Reader. I think it's very obvious, this one. Reporter. Video sharing. In WhatsApp, for example, you share many videos via WhatsApp to your friends, to your family, and so on. Viewer. Viewer, you can consider yourself as a viewer because you are watching me on TV. Website. This is very obvious and very clear word. So now let's move to our first activity, activity 3. Dear students, I want you to open your book or to keep opening the same book, students' book, page number 5, activity number 3. As you notice here, we have a small sign, this yellow circle. In this yellow circle, whenever you see this one, you should know that this is a listening question. So now let's start reading this question. Write the questions for a survey about the media, then listen and check your questions. Of course, you have noticed that this question is divided into 2 parts. The first one is to write the question, and the second one is to listen and check. So it's very important for you students to understand the question very well before you go ahead and answer the question. Okay, so we need to write the questions first, based on what we are given here, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then after that, we will listen to a track and check our questions that we formed or we wrote. Okay, but before we start writing questions, I want to point out, luckily, that we have a structure for writing a question in English. We start a question in English by adding the word WH question word, for example, what, where, why, and so on. Then we add auxiliary verb, or sometimes we call them helping words, like, for example, do, does, did, is, are, was, have, has. Sometimes they are called modal verbs, like will, would, shall, should, and so on. And then we add the subject. The subject is the one or the doer of the action or the verb. And then we add the main verb. Please notice that we have auxiliary verb and we have main verb. Main verb like play, like watch, like, read, follow. These are called main verbs. And then we will write the complement of the sentence or the question. But don't forget that we have a question mark here because it is a question. So now let's start with the first one. Number 1. We have hours a week and we have watch TV. As we said, that watch here, the main verb, TV will be the complement here. So hours a week. So we need to ask about the number of hours. Okay? So how can we write this question? First of all, we write how many hours a week. This is our question word. And then we add do. And this will be an auxiliary. How many hours a week? Do. And then we add you. This is the subject. And then we add the word or the verb watch. How many hours a week do you watch? Do you watch TV? Don't forget the question mark. Okay? So how many hours a week do you watch TV? Let's move to number 2. We have radio programs. We have like. So we will write like here. We will write it here. Okay. So how can we add the question word? Because we have like, maybe what kind of radio programs do you like? Or for example, do you like radio programs? Both are acceptable. Let's write, for example, what kind of radio programs, okay, do, same like this. What kind of radio programs do, and we have you, this one, like, okay, and question mark. So here we don't have a complement. Okay, this is the second one. The third one we have best way, and we have follow the news. Okay, so we will write what, this is the question word, is the auxiliary, then the best way is considered to be the subject, to follow is the main verb, the news is the complement. So what is the best way to follow the news, and the question mark. Number 4, we have magazines and we have read. So, what kind of magazines do, the auxiliary verb, you, the subject, read is the main verb and the question mark. Okay, so we have finished answering the first part of the question, which is writing the questions for, of course, a survey about the media. Now we will go to the second part of the question, to listen to a tract. It will take only 1 minute and 50 seconds. I want you to listen to this interview, and I want you to focus on and concentrate on questions, because this is our target, and then look at the questions we wrote and compare them with the one you will hear. If they are correct, so it's well done, great job. If there is a mistake, it's normal. That's why we are here, to learn from our mistakes. Then we'll try to correct our mistakes. So now I want you to prepare yourself to listen to this track. Okay, we will start now.
Unit 1.1.
Hi, can I ask you some questions?
Yes, sure.
Okay, thanks. Do you watch a lot of television? How many hours a week do you usually watch TV, do you think?
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't really like TV, actually. There are so many channels. I find it very confusing. I watch the news every evening, just to see the headlines, really. And sometimes I watch a documentary. So, in a week, I only watch a few hours, I suppose.
And what kind of radio programs do you like?
Well, I listen to the radio a lot, especially Radio 1. That's all pop music, really.
Right, that's great. And you say you're interested in the news. So, in your opinion, what's the best way to follow the news? Do you buy a newspaper?
Well, actually, I read the newspapers online. Most newspapers have a good website these days, with podcasts and news videos too. I don't like the TV news because it's very sensationalist, but I like to read different newspapers on the internet because I get more information that way.
Okay. And my last question is, what kind of magazines do you usually read?
Well, I sometimes look at fashion magazines, but they're a bit boring, to be honest. The articles are always the same. I'm into computer games, so really I prefer games magazines. They usually come with a disc so you can see new games, which is brilliant. I like reading about them on the internet as well.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay,
Unit
we have finished listening this tract, and of course you have these questions directly, and I hope that you checked and listened carefully to these questions. Okay, now I will play it for the next and last time, and we will see if we wrote correct questions. Okay, listen again.
1.1.
Hi, can I ask you some questions?
See,
Yes,
question number 1.
sure.
Okay, thanks. Do you watch a lot of television? How many hours a week do you usually watch TV, do you think?
Oh,
Okay, here they add usually. Okay, so how many hours a week do you usually watch TV? Because he wants to know how many hours a week that you watch TV. Okay, so this is correct one. Let's move to the second one.
I'm not sure. I don't really like TV, actually. There are so many channels. I find it very confusing. I watch the news every evening, just to see the headlines, really.
Now listen to
And
the second
sometimes I
one.
watch a documentary. So, in a week, I only watch a few hours, I suppose.
And what kind of radio programs do you like?
Well, I
Okay,
listen
this
to
is
the
correct.
radio a lot,
We have finished it.
especially Radio 1. That's all pop music, really.
Right, that's great. And you say you're interested in the news.
Okay.
So, in your opinion,
What?
what's the best way to follow the news?
Okay,
Do
this
you
is
buy a
also
newspaper?
correct.
Well, actually, I read the newspapers online. Most newspapers have a good website these days, with podcasts
We're
and
waiting
news
for the
videos
last one.
too. I don't like the TV news because it's very sensationalist. But I like to read different newspapers on the internet because I get more information that way.
Okay. And
What?
my last question is, what kind of magazines do you usually read?
Okay,
Well,
this is
I
also
sometimes look at fashion
correct.
magazines, but they're a bit
so
boring
this
to
is
be
enough for now. Okay, dear students, this is how we answer a question, listening question. First of all, you have to know the structure of forming a question in English language. And then when you listen, you have to have a target, you have to have an aim to follow, and then you can find the answer easily. Now let's move on to question number 2, or task number 2. I want you now to open the next page, page number 6 in your student's book, and we will start with a reading task. Okay, as it is clear here that we have a reading task, we have 2 questions here. We will start with number 2. But before we start with number 2, we would like to see what is on the page. Here we have an article. This one is an article. Here we have the questions 2 and 3. Here we have what we call it glossary. Glossary means this box is providing you with a word with its meaning. Okay, let's have a look to this one. Here we have instate. It is a noun, public speaking event where 8 people talk about experiences relating to Instagram. So why we call it Insta? It is an abbreviation of the word Instagram. And why it is 8? Because there are 8 people who are talking in this event. To establish, it means to start or to set up something. Food bloggers, people who write online articles about food, often including restaurant reviews and recipes. Comedians, I think you are aware of this word and you know the meaning. It's from the word comedy. Comedians, people who say and do funny things so that we laugh and they entertain, in the purpose of entertaining people. Entrepreneur, people who start up businesses. Participants, people taking part in something. For example, taking part in this event. Okay? So let's read the first question we have. Number 1, read the news story quickly. What is it about? If we concentrate on this question and read it carefully, we will know that we are asked to get the main idea of this article. The main idea of this article. In order to get the main idea or the gist of any article or any text we have here in the syllables or in the examination paper or whatever places you read from, magazines, from newspapers and so on, we need to use a strategy. This strategy is called skimming. Skimming is a strategy or a reading strategy where we are trying or attempting to find the main idea of the text. Now, again, the question, read the news story. This is the news story. Quickly, what is it about? Focus on this word, quickly. It means what? It means that we don't have to read all sentences or all statements from the text in order to get the main idea. Because if we are in an examination, we will waste our time just reading. And as it is clear for you, it is a long text. So we don't have to read all the words. Also, we don't have to know the meaning of all the words. We can sometimes infer from the context. Okay, what can we do in this case? Okay, in order to get an idea of a text, you need to read the title first. It might give you some idea about the text. For example, here we have amazing happens together. So there is something amazing, something wonderful happens together. Okay? Still, till now we don't have enough idea about the text, but at least we understand something from this title. Okay? If we have, for example, a glossary like this, we can understand also some of the text parts. If we have also picture, this picture actually is not found in your syllabus. Just I brought it from a Shabiba website in order just to make sure that you understand what is going on the text. So here we can see several people, many people gathering, and there is someone who is presenting something or talking to them, talking about something in a large place. Okay? So we can infer that this is an event, for example, and so on. So this is the third point. The fourth point, you read the introduction quickly. You can read the first lines, the first two lines. You can read the first line or the first sentences of each paragraph in the text, because normally it is what we call the topic sentence. It includes the topic meaning of the text of the paragraph. Okay, so if we move here, or skim it quickly here, we will find here, for example, the people are attending the Insta 8 event, which is called Amazing Happens Together. This reminds us of the heading. So this is actually the main idea. The people are attending. The people are attending the Insta 8 here. The people are attending the Insta 8 Oman event, which is called Amazing Happens Together. So the text is talking about an event called Insta 8. So this is the answer of question number 2. And we have learned how to use a skimming as a strategy to get the main idea of any text we come across. Okay, now let's move to question number 3. Read the news story. Are the sentences true or false? True or false? It means right or wrong. In this kind of questions, it means that he is asking about detailed information. In this case, we cannot use this strategy. We need another strategy, because this strategy is only for getting the main idea. Reading quickly, not for details, only for the guest. Okay, the second strategy that we can use in this kind of questions, true, false, for example, or if they ask about detailed information in the text, call it scanning. Scanning. Scanning is a reading strategy, as I said, for getting detailed information from the text. Even in this strategy, we don't have to read all the text also. So how can we answer the question? Let's see. Let's see number 1, for example. A group of people is gathering in the large square. So is this statement or sentence true or false? We need to focus on what we call keywords, or the important words, and we try to go to the text and to find these words, or to find maybe the synonym of these words. For example, we have a group of people gathering. We have this word gathering. It's very important in the large square. Okay, let's try to find these words in the text. We will start from here. So here directly we can find it here. A group of people is gathering in the large square. This is a very direct statement, and it is obvious, and you can answer it easily. Okay, so a group of people is gathering in the large square, so this is true. It is the same as in the question. Okay, let's move to number 2. There are many mature oak trees. Okay, so we will try to find out the word mature, the word oak, the word trees. Okay, we will try to find them here. For example, if we just follow the lines, we can find mature here. So here, mature, palm, trees, surround the modern building. So we notice that the word oak is not introduced in this line here. Here we have mature palm tree. So what's different between palm and oak? I brought these 2 photos here to clarify the meaning of these words. Palm trees, which is in the text here, this one. And oak trees, this one. Okay, so the sentence here is not correct, because what is found in the square is palm trees, not oak trees. So this one is false. And also from the picture, we can see clearly the palm trees. Okay, let's move to question number 3. Hamdan and Muhannad always give speeches at these events. Okay, here in 1 and 2 we found direct answers. Okay, but don't assume that you will find it easy every time. So you need to think more and more, and we will see this in these 2 questions. Okay, now we have Hamdan and Muhannad always give speeches at these events. Okay, we can find the names of Hamdan and Muhannad starting from here. Okay, but we need to give speeches, these events. And here we have always. This is a very important word, always. It means every time he is giving speech, it means that they stand like this guy, and give speech to audience. Okay, we will find the answer, in fact, at the end of the text here. This is for number 3. How? It's time for my last question for Hamdan and Muhannad. Who is saying this? The reporter, the one who wrote this article or this text. He's asking Hamdan and Muhannad this question. Have you ever been asked to give speech? So Hamdan and Muhannad always give speeches at this event. What is the answer of Hamdan and Muhannad? No, we haven't, but we are hoping to in the future. So they never been asked to give speeches. So here is false, because here they said always give speeches, but they never did this. Okay, number 4, they don't know what happens at events like this. Who? They, referring to whom? To Hamdan and to Muhannad. They don't know what happens at events like this. So it means they don't know the procedures. It means that this is the first time they come here. Okay? So if we look quickly at this text, we will find the answer here for number 4. I have never been to a social media networking event like this before. So I asked the boys. Who are the boys? Hamdan and Muhannad. How it works. So the reporter never attend such event. Because of this, he will ask Muhannad and Hamdan about the event, how it works. Then we will find their answers here. 8 speakers talk for 8 minutes each. They share 8 magic moments they have had on social media. What does it mean? It means that they are aware of the things which happen in the event. So they know, actually, they know what happens at events like this. So here they don't know. This is false, not correct. So in this, like this, we can find answers for such questions, for such detailed questions. We don't need to read all the words, and also we don't need to understand every single word found on the text. Okay, I hope that this is clear. Now let's move to another question in the same page, page number 6 in your student's book, activity number 4. So we started with listening, then with reading, and now we reach the station of grammar. Before we start reading the question here, it's very clear that we will deal with present simple, present continuous, and present perfect. You need to know the structure of each tense. You need to know the keywords of each tense. You need to know the uses or the usages of each tense. The question here is talking about the usages of these tenses, but let's have a quick review about these tenses. Of course, they are not introduced for the first time for you. You have studied such tenses in the previous classes in detail, but they keep reminding you of all these things because of the importance of grammar, as it is the skeleton of the English language, so that you can read, you can talk, you can write correctly. Okay, we notice that there is somebody here is reading a book. Let's take the verb read as an example. Okay, let's assume that this one is called Abdul Aziz, or if she is a woman or a girl, let's say she is Ghaida, for example. Okay, let's say present simple. Okay, Aziz reads a book. This is how we write a sentence in the present simple. We notice that Aziz is the subject of the verb. Reads is the verb of the sentence. Here the subject of the sentence, here the verb of the sentence, and this is the complement, or sometimes we call it the object of the sentence. Okay? We notice that here the pronoun of Aziz, he. And we notice that we add s at the end of the verb. This is rule. If we have he, she, it as subjects in the sentence, we add s. Sometimes we add es at the end of the verb. If the subject is I, we, you, and they, we don't add anything. For example, they read a book, not reads. But he, she, it reads a book. Okay? This is the present simple. There are many words which sometimes name them or call them keywords, like always, sometimes, never, every, for example, every day, every month, every year, and so on. Okay? But when do we use such tense? We use it with facts. If we talk about facts, we use it with permanent states. We use it for every day activities. For example, the sun rises from the east. Permanent state, for example, if I say I live in Suhar, or I live in Muscat, or I live in Aswaq, for example. So this is called a permanent state. It means that it is a state for a long time. Here we have everyday activities. For example, here we can say Aziz reads a book, or Aziz sometimes reads a book, or Aziz always reads a book, and so on. This is all about present simple. And here, if we go to the question, we can find the permanent state, we can find a regular activity only. Okay? So just I want you to remember these two uses. Okay? Let's start, for example, with the number one. Let's go to the second one, present continuous. Okay. Okay, for example, let's change the color to the blue one. Okay, this is for present continuous. Okay, here we have same name. For example, let's change it to Abdul Rahman. Okay, Abdul Rahman is reading a book. What can you see here? Is there any difference between this sentence and the previous one? Yes. Here we have the same subject. This is the subject. This is the subject of the sentence. Here the verb. Here we have the verb. But see, here we add an auxiliary verb. You remember auxiliary verb? Is. And then we write the verb read, and we add ing in order to indicate to the progressive situation or the continuity of the action. So Abdul Rahman is reading a book. What does it mean? It means that he is reading a book at the moment now. For example, you enter the room of your brother and you found your brother reading or holding a book. So in order to express what you see, you will say Abdul Rahman is reading a book. You have the keywords, we have the keywords. Now we have, for example, at the moment. Okay, we have right now. All these keywords are acceptable and found in such tense. Okay, if they are plural, for example, they or we are reading a book. We are reading a book. I am reading a book. I am watching a TV. Now you are watching a TV because at the moment you are watching a TV. Okay, so this is the structure of the tense, and these are some of the keywords of this tense. Okay, we use it for an activity which is in progress now, as it is in the example here. Sometimes we use it in an activity in progress around now. Notice here, around now, here now. The difference, and we mean by around now, it means not exactly at the same time we are talking, but around now, it means a temporary action. If I say, for example, Fatima is taking an English course around now, or for example, this month. It doesn't mean that Fatima is taking the English course now at the time of speaking, but it means that recently she took this course and she's still in the course, and for the near future, so for a short period of time. Okay, so we have this one and this one. We will skip this one, present perfect now, because these questions are dealing with these two, and we'll come later on to the present perfect. Okay, now let's read the question here. Look at the examples 1 to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Match them with the meanings A to D. Okay, for example, number 1. A group of people is gathering in the large square. First of all, we need to know what is the tense. What is the tense of this sentence? Is it present simple or a present continuous? From the structure you can figure out. It is present continuous, because here we have the subject, here we have the verb, here we have auxiliary verb, and here we have the main verb with ing. Okay, so a group of people is gathering in the large square. So since we know the tense of this sentence, it will be easy now to choose between these options, because this one is present simple and this one is present simple. This now is continuous and this is continuous. So since this is a continuous tense, we will choose between B and D. Let's see. An activity in progress now, or an activity in progress around now. A group of people is gathering in a large square. For example, we are describing this one. So it means now, at the moment of speaking. So the answer will be what? B. The answer will be B, this one. Okay. Number 2. Mature palm trees surround the modern building. Here we have subject, and here we have the verb, and this is the complement of the sentence. Subject, verb. We notice that here we don't have S at the end of the verb, although it is a present simple, because we have trees, plural. So they surround the modern building. So because it is a present simple, we will choose between A and D. Is it a permanent state or a regular activity? It is a permanent state. Okay? It is a permanent state. How we know? Because it is something which is lasts for a long time. It's not something you do every time. Okay? For example, I have flowers in my house. This is a permanent state. Okay? Number 3, Fahmi is teaming up with the Special Olympics in Oman. Fahmi, the subject, is teaming up. This is the verb. Is an auxiliary. Teaming ends, the verb ends with ing, so it is a present continuous. Since it is a present continuous, so we have only one option left, which is an activity in progress around now. It means that Fahmi has teamed up recently and continues to do the same action till near the future. So the answer here is C. Hamdan and Muhanna, this is for always arrive early for these events. We notice the word always, it is present simple. Arrive, this is the main verb, early for these events. So this is a regular activity. Regular activity, it means every time he's doing the same action, the same verb. He arrives, or they arrive early for these events every time, always. Okay, so the answer is D. I hope that this was clear for you. So for more information about these tenses, please go and see Grammar GPS, page number 124 in your student's book. Okay, let's move to another page. Open your student's book, page 7, activity 5, 6, and 7. The page will look like this. Okay, we will start with the first activity in the page. Okay, we will start with the question. Write the correct form of the verbs present simple, or present continuous, or present perfect. Present perfect, for example, Aziz has read a book. So we notice that we add the auxiliary verb has, and then we have the past participle of the verb read, which is pronounced read in the past participle. So Aziz has read a book. Aziz reads a book. Aziz is reading a book. These are the three tenses. Okay, here we have a text with the gaps. We need to write the verbs in the correct form of it. Donna is a member of Keira Knightley's fan club. Who is Keira Knightley? Keira Knightley is a famous actress, British actress. She is famous for her series of movies, Pirates of the Caribbean. Because she is famous, she has many fans around the world. She have a club. So Donna is a member of this fan club. It is the first time. Here I want to point out that this structure, or this kind of statement, it's the first time we use it in or with present perfect. So we will write here, it is the first time she has joined. We notice that we change the verb from its infinitive form of it to the past participle. This is not only the past, but also the past participle. And by the way, the past and the past participle are the same if the word ends with ed in the past form. So it is the first time she means Donna, has joined a fan club, and she is really happy because she has received a signed poster of Keira. This is a signed poster. You can see here some signs from the actors and actress, okay, in the poster. She received one like this, a signed poster of Keira. She has put it on her wall. She likes to look at it. Donna checks I'm going quickly because we have time running. The fan club site, most days, sometimes she spends, okay, and here we have doesn't finish, and here is making. We will try to explain this next time, inshallah. This is the end of our session today, our lesson today. I wish that you got some benefit from this lesson, and see you, inshallah, next week. Thank you.